This is Iorì Wase Profiles. I'm your host, Abigail Jacobs, joined on this episode by Montana Diabo in her final year of study at Ross University to become Kahnawake first locally practicing veterinarian. Listen in as she tells me about performing an emergency C-section, how the support from home is really helping, and if she could perform emergency human surgery in the zombie apocalypse. So we are patched in today with Montana Diabo, who is currently studying out in Columbus, Ohio to become Kahnawake first veterinarian. Thanks for joining us, Montana.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's good to see your face. It's been like forever, just, seeing you on Facebook and your adventures. And I'm like, oh my God, you're doing so cool out there.
Right. It's nice to be able to talk to someone back from home too, not just like my mom or, family. It's nice to see other people too.
I'm excited to hear all the updates because, like I said, I see some of your adventures going through Facebook. I see you like holding animal parts and updating on the different areas that you're going through. And so I wanted to talk to you about all the craziness that you're facing and where you want to go, what's up ahead for Montana and Kahnawake. To start, like veterinarian is such a broad term. And I mean, there's so many working parts within a health team and you're kind of learning everything, right?
Yeah, basically.
It's like everything.
Basically, right? It's like, I don't know if you've seen like those little memes. It's like veterinarians, they're anesthesiologists, they're internal medicine, dermatology, cardiology. It's like, we're an all-in-one profession.
So you just finished doing surgical oncology, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what is that?
So at Columbus, Ohio, it's like oncology, right? It's just like the study of like cancer and how it spreads, how you would treat it. So at Ohio, it's split into two. So you have your surgical oncology team, which actually does the surgery to remove the tumors. And then we also have another department, which is just our oncology medicine. And that team will do like the workup and they'll do like the radiation therapy and the chemo and everything like that. So I just finished 2 weeks in the surgical oncology department.
Wow. Just to jump back a bit, because like you said, we're patching through the year all the way out in Columbus, Ohio right now, studying with, it's Ross University that you're with, or?
Yeah, I'm still under Ross University. I'm just kind of like utilizing Ohio State's like fourth year services, I guess you could say.
Cool. And here in Kahnawake, everybody I'm sure recognizes like, oh, Montana Diabo, she's out there. She's going to be Kahnawake first vet. Who are your family? For those who maybe haven't heard what you're out there doing, or maybe are wondering like, where did she come from? Who is she related to back here at home? So can you just tell us a bit about your family here in Kahnawake?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. So, right, my mom is Deneen Deerhouse and my dad is Ricky Diabo. And then I also have my brother, Taylor Diabo, who's back in Kahnawake. And then, have a few other siblings. So their names are Kara, Charlene, and Blake. They're not in town. They're on the New York side.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and right. I don't know how in depth you want me to go. Like, town families, it's kind of like huge, so it can go on forever. But
well, no. So you have the Deerhouses and the Diabos, and you're part of those families here in town. And if you want to just give give shout outs to anybody and say hi.
Oh, that is also a very long list that I would love to do if I could, but I feel like it's going to take too much time. But yeah, I guess I'd like to give a little shout out, I guess, to like my grandparents, right? My mom, my Bubba, Margaret, and Mike Deerhouse. My Auntie Kelly, my Uncle Kevin. We'll just say all the cousins. That's from my mom's side, and my Auntie Trina, my Uncle Barry, my Uncle Sonny, my dad's side. It goes on forever, but I love everyone. It's just a little long to name everybody right now.
And now whoever you didn't name is going to be like, well, what? What about me? Don't worry. So you have a lot of support back here in town. Your mom is a hustler. There's going to be a void in the raffle market once you graduate because everybody in the community and all of your family and everybody have been so happy to support making your dream come true. And it's to have all of this fundraising always going and everything? How was that for you?
Okay, if it wasn't for my mom, I would be a sad pile of a human in loads of student debt. It's ridiculous how much my tuition is, and it's just for this last semester. Like I had taken out a loan. I haven't had to touch it because my mom has been doing amazing, and like all the support from the community has been really great. And all this like money she's raised, I've been able to pay my tuition. And then now that I'm in my 4th year, my clinical year, it like jumped up to, so my tuition right now is about 25,000 US for 4 months of school. Right. So yeah. So this semester I finally had to like dip into my loan to pay off some of my tuition.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm totally grateful. Like if it wasn't for my mom, I could be in like thousands of dollars of debt right now.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're just saying for 1 year, it's that much. And I mean, how is like, where are you on dorms or stuff like that? How is university life out in Columbus, Ohio?
Columbus, Ohio. It's like all the students, we have to find our own housing. Okay. So I managed to find an apartment. So I'm just living, me and Mr. Honey.
Mr. Honey, your little puppy. Before you were in Ohio, you had started off in St. Kitts with your schooling, right?
Correct.
How did you find this paradise program? Like, #jealous.
Oh, man. Okay. So a lot of people think like, right, I was in St. Kitts, I was on a beach, I must have been 10 and on the beach all the time, but that definitely was not the case. Like the amount of schooling we did was ridiculous, right? Because it's a shorter program to go to St. Kitts, but it's because it's studying all year round. So I don't get a summer off or anything.
Yeah.
It's like my break between semesters. So like for the year, I got 6 weeks off.
Oh, wow.
And then all the other days and weeks, nights, I was essentially just studying in my room.
Yeah.
In my apartment, everywhere. Yeah. So #don't be so jealous.
But how did you find out about the program specifically in St. Kitts?
Okay, that was a funny story. My dad was just like on the computer, just like, I guess just fooling around. Because right, it was kind of a long time ago, and something kind of just like some random pop-up came up on some website he went on. He was like, "Oh, hey, look, there's a veterinary university coming in for like I guess a presentation at like one of the hotels downtown in Montreal."
Oh, cool.
And I was considering going to vet school, although I hadn't even finished my biology bachelor's at Concordia yet.
Okay.
But that was something I was like working towards. I wanted to go to vet school. They're like, you need to graduate and have all these course prerequisites. Okay, I'll do that. And then this showed up. And so me and my mom were like, okay, let's go check it out, just see what it's like. Right. Because it's like in Canada, if you want to go to vet school, you have to go to the vet school of your province.
Okay.
Right. And Quebec, St. Hyacint's veterinary medicine school is all French. And I wasn't really prepared or confident in myself to take on a medicine program in French.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was either I could have gone to Ontario and like lived there for a year. I couldn't be a student. I had to be working there. And then I could simply be considered to be admitted into Ontario's vet school.
Oh.
But there was still no like guarantee. Like I could have just been there for a year and be like, sorry, you don't make it.
Yeah. And then you're stuck out in Ontario. You have to stay there, and who knows where the path would have taken you.
Yeah. So it was always like an international option for me. And Ross just seemed a little more fun than going somewhere in the States.
Yeah. I mean, if you get to make the choice, like, of course, you're going to choose something like that, something like the St. Kitts and the islands and all that. So what would you say would have been like the really cool difference as far as the schooling that you would have gotten in St. Kitts as opposed to somewhere like Quebec or Ontario?
One really unique aspect is, well, they always call it Rossi resilience because it's on an island. So like your power can go out from hurricane season and you just have to be able to manage it. And it's like they taught us to be like so prepared for any like situations that pop up. Like, right, it hasn't happened to me, but like some students will be in surgery and like the power goes out. So they have like all these protocols in place.
Oh my God.
And they teach you to be ready to deal with things like that.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And then when I came here, some of the Ohio students were actually a little bit jealous of how we're taught at Ross, because they find when the Ross students come to Ohio State, we're more general practice ready and like to be ready to be hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we're asked, well, what's the difference between your school? And they said, well, they kind of concentrate on like specialties. So they go into like really tiny details of like each aspect.
Okay.
Whereas I guess Ross, it's like, okay, this is the big picture. This is how you deal with it. This is how you do things.
Yeah. Get your hands dirty, really learn the grit and everything that you need.
Yeah. Ross definitely gives us a lot more hands-on. Well, from what I heard, I can't really say from experience, right? But from what I heard, Ross gives us a lot more hands-on.
So did you have to face any like crazy weather obstacles or anything? Like, was there a hurricane season while you were out there in St. Kitts?
No hurricanes. I didn't really get any like crazy weather thing, but I was stuck there for COVID. Like when it first started, when it hit hard and was hitting everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they took their quarantine and like their protocols to the next level there. It was ridiculous. It was like, so, right, the island used to have like one main road really.
Okay.
And so they divided the island into like zone A and zone B. And you were only allowed to go out and get groceries one day of the week. So like zone A can go out on Mondays, zone B go out on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And then like if you weren't in zone A on that Monday when you can go out, they blocked the road from zone B. So like because you weren't allowed to leave your house.
Wow. Like, I mean,
like,
I'm trying to think of it like if here in town, it was like, if you live below Old Malone Highway, you can't go out. And if you live above Old Malone Highway, you can go shop on Monday. Like, that's what it would be like.
It was exactly like that. Or it would have been like that. And it was ridiculous. Like the cops would drive around and like if people were walking around, they would arrest you. Like it's kind of silly. Like the police there, like will take selfies for like their little St. Kitts page. And it's like they have like selfies, like don't be walking around. And it's have like people arrested in the back of the truck.
Oh my goodness. Well, they took it seriously. So
They did. But that went on for like maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that.
Wow.
But then we cleared it. Like there was no more cases on the island and we kind of almost got to go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so no crazy weather, but the pandemic I was there for.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were there for pandemic, but you also like, I mean, how long was the program? How long have you had to be like living away from your family?
So the program there, like what? I think it's like 2.75 years, if that makes sense. I don't know. Because that program is usually 4 years, whereas Ross, it's kind of cut down by, I guess, 4 months.
Because it's all compacted.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So then have you ever had any experiences living outside of Kahnawake before this?
I kind of have, yes, because like I've done like a few volunteer trips.
Oh, cool.
Like in the past. So it's like when I was at Vanier College studying to become an animal health technician, I joined a group and we went to Malawi, Africa for a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to live there I was there with 6 other students.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of like a humanitarian trip.
Yeah.
For like to gain like we were like interviewing different like little villages there because no one has like access to water really. There's no wells or anything like in these such like remote communities.
Yeah.
So we kind of like kickstarted that project off. Like we went around to the different villages. We kind of like, why do you need water? As terrible as it sounds, we kind of had to like prioritize who would get a well first.
Okay.
And then I had also gone to Laos in Southeast Asia I was there for 2 weeks.
Wow.
In an elephant sanctuary.
Ooh, that's a little more fun.
Yeah.
So you did, you've mentioned that you were doing your biology in university or your biology in Concordia and you were doing health studies in Vanier. So like what were the steps that were getting you to where you are now with Ross University and your veterinary school? What kind of, yeah.
I had actually taken kind of like a long pathway to get where I'm at. So right straight from high school, I I know I want to go into the animal health profession. So it was either like I could have gone like the health science way and like, right, that's 2 years, but I chose to go to a technology program, the 3-year program at Veterinarian. I'm an animal health technologist.
Okay.
And then I worked as a technician at the Montreal SPCA for about maybe about 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I had gone back to Concordia to get the bachelor's, but my marks were so okay. So my marks, not to brag, but my marks were really good at Concordia, and like I had all the experience like already in the animal health field.
Yeah.
That I didn't even have to finish my bachelor's at Concordia. Ross was like, "You're so good. We want you."
But it helps, right? When you have a lot of like hands-on experience. Like, I mean, you said you were at the SPCA for how many years? And then when you go into schooling and it all is just like clicking together. And so, and I mean, you're a smart lady too. So
yeah, it was nice because right, it's like at the SPCA, the doctor would be like, "Okay, give this, let's do this." I'm like, all right. Not really knowing the reasons why, like totally knowing why. I'm like, all right, antibiotic, this sounds good. Let's just give this. But right now it's like on to vet school. It's like now I understand why they made the choices and why we were giving different medications for different cases.
Cool. So when you finished your health tech course at Vanier and you went to the SPCA, like basically that would have gotten you, like there's, like we said, there's the different levels and working parts to a health team. So if somebody were to just finish at the Vanier level, like where would you have then worked if you just stopped there?
I could have worked in a lot of different clinics. It's like, it's essentially like an animal nurse, right? So you can take your skills and you can work at like any clinic or emergency hospital. I just wanted to take it a step further.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you're going like that whole step further, right? So what are as you're learning everything, what is the aspects of your schooling that's appealing to you the most?
That keeps changing.
Oh, yeah.
So when I first started, right, I was just like, I'm just going to do cats and dogs because that's what I'm used to. And I know a lot about them already. And then when I was at Ross, I actually picked up a job working on the animal care team for the school. And I got to deal a lot with the horses and our cows and our sheep. And then leaving Ross, I was like, all right, I really love horses too. I'm going to do horses, cats, and dogs. Right. And then I come to Ohio and I did a farm animal rotation where I got to help with C-sections and vaccines and like castrations of like all different kind of farm animals. And I was like, I really like working with cows and sheep. So I'm like,
cool.
And let me just add another layer. Right now I'm at an exotic clinic. So so it's all reptiles and wildlife and like small mammals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is amazing. So like I started off with cats and dogs and now I just want to do everything.
You're going to be like a little Dr. Doolittle, Montana Doolittle. That's awesome. So what were some of the courses now that you're doing? Like, okay, you did large animal field services and the surgical oncology. What are some of like these like learning? You said it was with cancer and different kinds of surgeries and things. Has there ever been a course that you reached and you were just like, intimidated or like really taking on a lot, like eye-opening? Or
the one that really caught me off guard, well, I think it was just because of like the workload. It's like I was new to Ohio State and we don't start at the same time as the students here. So the class that I joined, they just graduated like last month. So they were like almost done their whole year when I joined in.
okay.
And my first rotation was small animal orthopedic surgery. And right, so the doctors were like, right, bone surgery, you have to be pretty precise with what you're doing, what you're cutting, how you're placing things. And so that one, I was like, oh, wow, I thought I really liked bones before. I don't know if I can do bone surgery anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty intimidating.
Yeah. And then, but the one that I like, the large animal field service, that's the one that surprised me that's probably one of my top ones right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that one was like going out to different farms and like, we get to one farm, we're like, okay, we have a limping cow. How do we deal with this? And then he's like, okay, but now I also have this cow and this cow. So it's like, you go to one farm and we got to see so many different cases and deal with so many different animals. It was a lot of hands-on.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like, because right with COVID, it's like they pair up one student with one doctor.
Okay.
So like my favorite, I guess, situation we were in is like we went out for a cow dystocia, meaning it was having trouble giving birth.
Oh my.
So right. So the doctor was like, all right, he's like, this cow is stuck. He's like, we're going to put the little chains on its feet and we're going to try to pull it through and hopefully she'll push and we'll get this calf out of her.
Oh my gosh.
So he's like, okay, put the chains on, right? I'm there like elbow deep in the cow, like trying to put chains on this little calf's feet to try to pull it out. And then we're trying to pull, we're pulling for an hour.
Wow.
And finally the doctor's like, he's like, we can't do this. He's like, or no, it wasn't even an hour. It was probably about like 30 minutes. It just seemed like an hour because I was exhausted from all the pulling.
Yeah.
So after about like 30 minutes, he's like, all right, Montana. He's like, have you ever done a cow C-section? I was like, no, never. He's like, well, you're going to learn today because we're going to have to do this now.
Wow.
Yeah. So right then and there, like, I'm like, okay, pull the calf out. And then like, oh God, we're going to surgery. Let's do this. And he just like makeshift surgery room table in this barn. And yeah, that was amazing. He's like, get your hands in there, feel this, hold this. Do you see this? And it was so cool to be right there. Like, because right, it was just me and a doctor. So I was super involved.
That is amazing. Okay, so now you know how to birth a cow and do a C-section. you're getting all these different things under your belt. You can take care of the cats. You can take care of the birds. What do you want to do once you're done school? Where do you see yourself headed next?
Well, I'm not too sure about what species I want to work with exactly, right? Because I'm in like, I want to do everything right now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping since like I have a few more months, like, right, I'm here till January. So I'm hoping by January, I'll kind of have like something I like a little more to focus on. But I think after this, I'm going to do an internship, right? So it's like, I'll basically go work in a clinic or a hospital and I'll be working as a vet, but I'll still have like an older or more experienced vet working above me so that I can consult them and be like, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
Is this right? So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. And I think that's usually about like a year.
Cool.
And then after that, I'll probably go into practice.
Wow. So are we like building a building for you? Are you going to be bringing your practice back to Kahnawake right away, or?
That's the ultimate goal. I'd like to open something back home. Like, right, I had a lot of people who messaged me like, oh my God, Montana, help me. I was like, breathe. Just send them a little message like, this is fine. Give your dog this and then go to the vet. You'll be fine. No, it's not an emergency right now.
Well, for sure. I mean, I know I have like a few family members who are in the health field, and like just as nurses, they get a lot of different text messages at night like, oh no, I think something's wrong. And do you get tons of messages from people about like, my cat swallowed tinsel?
Not tons, no, but I do get some. So it's like, just from that, right? It's like they already have their confidence in me that I can help them. So I can't wait to bring like my services and like everything I can do back home.
How are all the trips for Mr. Honey? Where did you find Mr. Honey, your dog, right now?
Mr. Honey came from St. Kitts. Mr. Honey. No. Hey, boy. What's going on? Yeah. So this is Mr. Honey. I got him when in St. Kitts. I think it was my third semester. I would just like, I kind of just got tired of just like sitting in my apartment alone all the time studying. So I was like, I'm going to foster a dog, but it has to be a little dog because my apartment was tiny in like a little ghetto place. So I was like, I need a small dog so we can both fit. And so we fostered him, and he actually didn't like me for the first week. He was like super afraid of everything. So he kind of like hid under my bed. And yeah, so I think I had him maybe for about 4 months in foster.
Oh, he loves you.
Like, and then the little rescue group from school had messaged me saying, okay, like his foster time is up. We have someone who wants to adopt him, but since you're the foster, you get first dibs if you want. So I was like, God damn, I'm going to adopt him. He was not part of the plan, but I'm glad he is. And right. And now we're just living our lives in Ohio.
Yeah. I wonder how he's going to do with all like the res dogs.
I don't know. He's met my other dog back home, like, right. So I had 3 weeks in between Ross and coming here. So I got home and he got to meet my other dog, and I feel so sad separating them.
Aw.
Mm.
So was it always the dream, like growing up from Little Montana and Kahnawake, riding her bike in the streets? And like, did you always want to be a vet? Were there other career choices, or it was just always like, I know this is what I want to do?
It was always one of my top options. Like I always look at like my little like Cattery School graduation book there.
Yeah.
And like, what do you want to do when you get older? It was either like a veterinarian or an astronaut. And here I am.
All right. And yeah, you started your fur family and you're going to be coming back. So the big end goal of your dream veterinarian future endeavor would be to have a practice here in Kahnawake, or do you think maybe like, you know, working with farms, or like you said, you're going to kind of zero in, see where it takes you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a mixed practice right now. So really cats and dogs for sure. And then maybe like work with like some of the cows or like the mini horses, some of the goats people have. I just don't know how I'm going to make a schedule yet, but that's far away, right? Because like if I have to drive out to someone's farm, like I have this, and this, it's going to take a whole day. Like I can't have like, if I'm having a farm day, I can't have someone call me with their dog, be like, he has an ear infection. I'm like, sorry, can't come right now. I'm in the middle of a C-section. So I'll have to figure that out.
Do you have any advice for any little Montanas or teens who are looking into the area of study right now? What would you tell somebody who has their dream of being a veterinarian?
So first off, I would tell them, like, even though it's like the long, torturous route, take the sciences that you can in high school, right? It's like you can do like the sciences, or you can do like the more gym-based. At least that's what it was like at QAA. I had taken the more sciencey routes of doing like the physics and the biologies. And then I guess it depends on how fast they want to become a vet. Because, right, like I said, there was that, you could go from like high school to your health sciences, and then you can probably apply to a vet school right away. But I really like the path that I took, because it's like I got to Ross and they're like, okay, let's place catheters. Like, okay, no problem. I'm going to place that. Like the way I took going through 3 years of tech school and then the 4 years of working, like it made me hands-on ready for vet school. Like I was already like introduced to a lot of the topics.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess it kind of depends on what they want.
Mm-hmm. No,
Like,
for sure. Everybody's going to
right?
find their own way. But I mean, it worked out really well for you to get that experience in like the shelter and in these other places, because it lended to your studies.
Yeah. So I like the way, not to be biased, but I like the way I took, even though it was a little longer.
Are there any words that you have for people back home, people who are still buying their raffle spots? And
Oh, yes. I just like to say thank you to everyone. There's no way I would have made it this far into my school career without the help of everyone. And it's not just like the money donations, but it's like sometimes like some of my cousins or friends are just like, they'll just like message me random things saying like, oh, you're doing amazing. Like you're an inspiration. Like people just telling me that, it's just like giving me like more drive to continue with what I'm doing and to excel at it.
no, it's really is cool. That's why, I mean, we wanted to talk to you because, like I said, I see some of your adventures on Facebook and get the updates, and you're killing it out there. Like you're doing really well in your grades though, right?
Right. Yeah. I was doing good in my grades. Now it's like my 4th year. It's like, it's so nice. There's no more tests.
Oh, nice.
Right. So now it's just like putting everything I know like into action.
Cool.
So it's like, right. It's like, we'll get a case and the doctor will be like, okay, what do you think is going on? What tests do you want to run? What medications would you give and why would you give them? So now it's basically like, it's kind of just like a pass fail. If they don't feel like you're ready for that part, even if you don't want to focus on that part of the field, if they don't think you're ready to deal with clients or making decisions like that or being able to justify your decisions, they'll fail you. But then if you don't even have to be like super on top of things, if you just show that you're, I don't know what the word is. I can't think of the word right now, but like
if you're showing that you're like confident or
initiative, that's the word. To show initiative, yeah, even in confidence too. Like even if you have your answer wrong, but you're like, I think it's this. Like you're wrong, but good try. It's like a lot of
that was a terrible decision, but we're glad you had confidence about it.
Yeah. Basically, sometimes, yeah.
So you're almost there though. Like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I can, yeah. There's just one more giant test that I have to pass now. It's called the NAVLE. It's like the North American Veterinary Licensing Exam.
Wow.
And that's a 6-hour exam. So now I have to start studying for that now. And it's basically reviewing all my notes from all my time at Ross.
Wow. Okay. Well, good luck on that then. We won't take up too much of your time. Today is, like you said, you actually have a day off today. And our producer has a special question for you before we go. He says, this is the scenario. There is a zombie apocalypse. There's never any doctors in the group, but always a vet. Could you save a human from a zombie bite with your knowledge and experience?
I probably could. In surgical oncology, I've seen some limb amputations. I mean, it can't be too different, right?
So when the zombie apocalypse hits, we're calling you. And we hope that you're already back in town, that it's not anytime soon, because, you're going to be like one of the most important people in town.
I'll be your Herschel if you watch The Walking Dead.
Yes. So enjoy the rest of your day off, and I wish you all the best luck. Not that you need it. You've got it. We have confidence in you. We support you here back at home, and thank you for talking with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. I'm Abigail Jacobs with Iorì Wase Profiles. Iorì Wase would like to thank the Community Media Strategic Support Fund for supporting this initiative.